Fermenting your chicken's feed is the way to save money and support your chicken's health. But just because the temperatures have dipped doesn't mean the fermenting stops. In this video, I'm going to be guiding you through my process for mixing up feed and giving you an inside look at our feeding setup. So some of the things that we do differently for our chicken feed in the wintertime is I actually move it into our garage where it stays 50 to 60 degrees because I typically run a wood burner. Keep things from freezing. But so here we have chicken feed that has been fermented for, I'm going to say it's probably been 4 days. You have more flexibility. You don't have to use it up quite as quickly as you would otherwise. Like I would say it would probably be fine for like a week out here. So this has been, 3 or 4 days old. This is, I believe this is, I'm going to say it's probably 3 days. And you can see it actually has kind of like a white, I don't know if mold is necessarily the term, but it's actually beneficial. It's not something you have to worry about. That's just a sign that it's working. And then this would be, I just mixed this up yesterday. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and empty this feed bucket here, and I'll show you guys how I mix it up. So we've gotten a lot of questions about the ratios of feed to water mixture, and I'll show you what I do with ours, but it's going to depend on the type of feed that you have, because we use a feed that's more finely ground. So if you're using something that's a lot more whole grains, it's going to use less water than what we're doing here. Okay, so I generally, for ours, I try to shoot for about a 50-50 ratio. So what I'll do is I'll fill up my bucket. It's generally just a little bit under half full, because you want some room at the top of the bucket once you're done. So I'm just going to add this feed in here, and really it's kind of a guess. I'm not too specific about it. What I generally do is add my feed in here, and I'll start mixing it, and I kind of look for a certain consistency. And something else that I started doing this year, I got just some cracked corn to add to it as well for the winter time, and I bumped up their protein. So in the summertime, we're normally feeding like I think it's a 16% layer ration. This is actually a 17%, and it would probably be even better if it's more like an 18% for wintertime. That's partly why I'm adding some cracked corn into it. We also have some pullets that are still growing, so I'm trying to keep that ratio a little bit higher for them to grow. So for me, I'm looking for a mixture that's just I can still mix it with my mixer on my drill, but it's not like really soupy. This is a little bit too soupy yet, so I'm going to add some more. Like other things, you want to avoid chlorinated water when mixing up feed for fermentation. The chlorine in tap water will kill your good bacteria. So this is about the consistency that I like to look for in ours. Now I know some people they like to submerge it completely in water. I've just done this, and I feel like it's worked well for us. Part of the reason for that is when feeding, I don't like to have a lot of water, and I'll show you guys how we feed ours. But I just don't like to have a lot of water in there and end up having to strain that out. And our feed is, it's more finely ground feed, and it has all the minerals and everything in it. And so if I end up having to strain it, I'm probably going to end up losing that stuff. So in the wintertime, you've got more of a flexibility with the time frame. Like I could probably leave this sit for 4 or 5 days easy, because it's only 50 to 60 degrees in here, and we don't have to end up using it right away. Whereas in the summertime, if you've got like 70, 80 degree temps or even more, you have to be careful that you use it quickly enough, like within probably 3 days, or it's going to end up molding on you. And so like in the wintertime, generally once it starts freezing, I'll end up pulling it into the garage. You could do it in your basement, but the ideal temperatures for fermenting, it's going to be about 75 degrees. But you know, I'm not too worried about it. I could try to make so it's warmer, but you know, I'm not going to go out of my way too much to do this, and it's worked well for us just as it is. Okay, so this is how we feed our chickens. I experimented with a couple things, and I finally ended up on getting just like a plastic gutter to put our feed in. That has seemed to work about the best. I would say some of the downsides of doing this method is you can't have like just a normal feeder you can fill up and they can eat out of. You do have to feed them every day, and that's something we just haven't really come up with, is a system to where you could use it automatically. I'm sure there's some way that somebody could come up with something to where it automatically feed them every day, but we typically have to be out here every day anyway, so it's not really a big deal to me coming out, and you have to gather eggs daily anyway, so we just come out every day and give them their feed. We also feed morning and evening now, because I really need to set up another feeder in here, and we have enough pullets coming on that they're cleaning everything up if I feed them, so we just started feeding them morning and evening. So we probably have about 35 chickens right now, which that's a lot for this little building. But some of them will be, before too long, we're going to end up butchering all the young roosters that we hatched out. Something that we have done is we use a more deep bedding method in here. So every day or two, I add either hay or sawdust. So every other day or something, I'll add hay or sawdust on top of their bedding, and I just continue to let it build up. And so last night it was around 35 degrees outside, and it's actually currently almost 50 degrees in here. And that would be partly from some of that would be from the deep bedding that's decomposing. It's actually creating a heat, but something you do have to stay on top of is if you have a small space like this, it can build up a lot of ammonia, and so just making sure that there's enough bedding in here where it covers up the older stuff, and you can tell a difference if you're walking inside and you don't like breathing it, you probably need to address something. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and the subscribe button. It helps us out. See you next week.